would be beneath the Queen's dignity. Katie?
NBC's Matt Bradley live in London. Thank you very much. That will do it for me. Remember, you can follow me on Facebook or Twitter. I'm always partial to Twitter. I should remind people that. Kate Snow picks things up now. Hey.
We like to follow you on Twitter. Can I say congratulations, by the way?
You can.
Is that allowed?
Yeah.
Congratulations.
Thank you. I got engaged.
Big deal. Big deal. Good afternoon. I'm Kate Snow, and here are our top stories this hour. A lot to digest from this afternoon's White House press briefing, especially when it comes to President Trump's immigration executive order. Spicer says it is all about safety, his explanation coming up. And just in the last hour, a spokesman for President Obama, the former president, releasing a statement about the protests over the weekend. It reads in part, citizens exercising their constitutional right to assemble, organize, and have their voices heard by their elected officials is exactly what we expect to see when American values are at stake. With regard to comparisons to President Obama's foreign policy decisions, as we've heard before, the president fundamentally disagrees with the notion of discriminating against individuals because of their faith or religion. That's part of the statement. And last hour, Sean Spicer defending the administration's decision to invite senior advisor Steve Bannon to attend meetings of the Principals Committee of the National Security Council. We're going to get to all of that with our team of reporters. They're tracking all the latest developments from the White House all the way over to Capitol Hill and Iraq. Let's start in our nation's capital this afternoon. Hallie Jackson joins me now. Hallie, everything from immigration to the National Security Council to the Supreme Court pick, Iran, Israel. So many subjects came up in that, hour-long news conference.
Take your pick, yeah.
All right, well, why don't we start with the one that got sort of the most questions, the executive order on immigration. And the administration really seeming to push back and argue this is all about safety and what happened over the weekend, not a huge deal.
And listen, that has been the line that the administration has been pushing, frankly, since, Friday night when this came out. And then, of course, at that briefing with reporters, that background briefing late Sunday, actually. So it was not particularly surprising to hear Sean Spicer pick that up here in the briefing room just within the last hour or so. Listen to what he had to say about one part of that executive order, Kate, and then we're going to talk about it on the other side.
The people that needed to be kept in the loop were kept in the loop. The people that needed to be briefed were. And if you, again, I think that this is largely overblown. When you look at the context of how big this was and the number of people that caught up, it's relatively minor as a percentage of the overall total. So when you look at how this worked on a Saturday, 109 people out of 325,000 were slowed down going in. I truly believe that it is being blown out of proportion.
Two quick points to make on this, Kate. That soundbite from Sean Spicer largely encapsulates what the administration's argument is, that the safety and security of all, in their view, outweighs the what they call inconvenience of some. As you know, that is something that Democrats and others who are opposed to this immigration executive order are fighting against as we speak. The other point out of that, and you heard it at the very beginning of his soundbite, was talking about how the people that needed to be briefed on this executive order were briefed when they needed to be, prior to it going into place. That does conflict with some of the reporting that you are seeing about where, for example, the Department of Homeland Security, the Department of Defense, the State Department, and others were, and where they are now, frankly, in trying to implement or figure out how to implement certain parts of this EO.
All right, Hallie Jackson, sorry, you caught me off guard. Hallie Jackson and I kind of summarizing all that for us. Appreciate it so much. Let's go up the road to Capitol Hill. Congressional Democrats making plans this afternoon to try and undo what the president has done on immigration. In a matter of hours, Senate Minority Leader Chuck Schumer is expected to call for a vote that he says would repeal Mr. Trump's executive action. Yesterday, the senator fought back tears in describing what was going on.
This executive order was mean-spirited and un-American.
And then this morning, President Trump responded to that moment you just watched with this.
I noticed Chuck Schumer yesterday with fake tears. I'm going to ask him who is his acting coach, because I know him very well. I don't see him as a crier. If he is, he's a different man. There's about a 5% chance that it was real, but I think they were fake tears.
Joining me now from Capitol Hill, my colleague Kelly O'Donnell. And Kelly, let's talk about what Chuck Schumer can actually do, what the senator could do to try to reverse this order, because let's be honest, the Democrats are not in the majority.
That's right, Kate. It is a limited opportunity for Democrats, but
taking these sort of steps where they use some of the rules of the Senate to try to bring up an action, even though they don't have the votes or, frankly, the control to make that happen, is in and of itself a kind of messaging step, a way to put public pressure, a way to, again, invite people to see what's happening, expand sort of their voice by having different steps along the way. We saw the protests over the weekend at airports and near the White House. This is a way that inside the process of government, Chuck Schumer, as the top Democrat, can try to fight the fight for progressives. But as you point out, Senate Republicans have control. They get to determine what is considered on the floor. They have more votes. So taking these sort of steps has happened a lot over time, and part of it is to, again, leverage some public pressure. Even if you can't succeed with an idea like this, it is a way to talk about a concern. So that's really what this should be considered. It would take 100 senators agreeing to permit this to go forward, to challenge the president's executive order. We know simply by the math and the party lines that's not going to happen. But he will do it anyway to try to get that message out. We will also expect to see Democrats, both in the Senate and the House, gathered later today outside the Supreme Court to come together to also protest what they have witnessed over the last couple of days and to try to, again, bring public pressure to this issue. And it may not have any direct impact on President Trump, but they are trying to galvanize. They're fundraising off of this as well, and they're trying to really get on the same page. And this is the kind of issue that has helped them do that. So expect a lot of these public statements and public demonstrations of their views, even when they don't have the tools to maybe achieve something legislatively. Kate?
And Kelly, one of the other things I suppose they could do as Democrats is try to obstruct some of the cabinet appointments, right? So where do we stand on that on a Monday? Give us a sense for what the week looks like.
Now, that is where the minority party in the Senate does have some ability to slow the pace. Any individual senator can try to slow things down. That has long been a part of the Senate, to try to prevent things from moving too quickly without full consideration. So you've heard Sean Spicer, the White House press secretary, talking about the fact they believe that Democrats have not moved swiftly enough to confirm the president's picks for various cabinet officers. And this is something that Democrats can do. For example, later today, we will expect a procedural vote for Rex Tillerson, the designate to be Secretary of State. That could have moved more quickly if Democrats agreed with Republicans to speed up the clock. By not doing so, they have time for more debate. Democrats on a number of these picks say they want more scrutiny, more time to consider some of these nominees, even though eventually, short of someone really sort of cratering because of a problem that has not yet been identified, they are likely to be confirmed. But they can slow the pace, and in doing so, have a chance to make their case. Kate?
Kelly O'Donnell on Capitol Hill. Kelly, thanks so much for keeping track of all of that. Coming up, we're going to be checking in overseas on the impact of this immigration executive order over there. Also, a Muslim civil liberties organization heading to court this afternoon to challenge that executive order. I'll be joined by one of the attorneys who just filed that lawsuit after the break.
To do the best for your pet, you should know more about the food you choose. With Beyond, you have a natural pet food that goes beyond telling ingredients to showing where they come from. Beyond assuming the source is safe to knowing it is. Beyond asking for trust to earning it. Because honestly, our pets deserve it. Beyond natural pet food.
Everything your family touches sticks with them. Make sure the germs they bring home don't stick around. Use Clorox disinfecting products, because no one kills germs better than Clorox.
America's beverage companies have come together to bring you more ways to help reduce calories from sugar, with more great tasting beverages with less sugar or no sugar at all. Smaller portions